I'm a 26-year-old woman, and this story starts back when I was 13. That was the year my mother died in a car accident. I remember the day clearly, one of those quiet spring mornings that somehow stay stuck in your head, even when you don't want them to. My father unraveled fast after that. First came the drinking, then the gambling, and then the nights where he just didn't come home at all. I started missing school, not because I wanted to, but because I had no way to get there. Sometimes there wasn't food in the house. Sometimes there wasn't even electricity. It didn't take long before Child Protective Services stepped in. I didn't know where they'd send me, but I figured anything would be better than being alone in that house. When they told me I'd be moving in with my Aunt Marianne, my mom's sister, I actually felt a bit of relief. She lived in the same city, she had kids, and I remembered meeting her once or twice during holidays when I was younger. I thought maybe this was my shot at a second chance. She picked me up in silence, didn't hug me, didn't ask me how I was doing. We drove in complete quiet for 20 minutes until we pulled into her driveway. It was a 2-story suburban house, tidy from the outside. Her twin daughters, both 15, peeked through the curtains when we pulled up. Inside, she handed me a blanket and said there wasn't a bedroom for me. She led me through the kitchen, down a short hallway, and into the garage. It smelled like paint thinner and wet cardboard. She pointed at an old camping cot in the corner and said, "You'll sleep here for now." Oh well, me and you. We weren't planning for another mouth. That was my welcome. The garage had no insulation, no carpet, and no windows. Just a single overhead bulb that buzzed when it turned on. I asked if I could have a space heater. She shook her head and muttered something about the electric bill. So I layered up at night, sweaters, socks, and an old sleeping bag I found stuffed in a box labeled camping. When it got cold enough that my breath turned white, I started sleeping with my coat zipped up. Her daughters had their own rooms. Their walls were painted soft pink and pale green, with matching comforters and little string lights hanging over their beds. They had desks, chairs, laptops. I had a milk crate for my clothes and a metal hook on the wall for my coat. I wasn't allowed to eat with the family. Most nights, they'd have dinner in the kitchen, pasta, meatloaf, pizza. I got leftovers, sometimes just reheated vegetables or a slice of bread with peanut butter. I'd eat on a plastic stool near the tool shelves while the garage door rattled in the wind. She told the school district I was being homeschooled, but I wasn't. For the first 3 months, I didn't go to any school at all. I sat in the garage with a borrowed library book while her kids caught the bus every morning. I wasn't allowed to touch the TV. I wasn't allowed to go upstairs unless I was cleaning. Eventually, a neighbor asked questions. A woman across the street who noticed I never left the house, never had a backpack, never played with other kids. She must have threatened to call CPS because suddenly Aunt Marianne enrolled me in the local public school. I was months behind. I had no school supplies. I didn't even have a proper backpack. On my first day, I showed up in clothes that were 2 sizes too small because they were hand-me-downs from one of the twins. My shoes had holes in them. I was the weird new girl who didn't talk much and flinched when people raised their voices. At school, I started using the locker room showers after gym. It was the only place I could get clean. I couldn't use the family bathroom at home. That was off limits. So I used the pool showers at the community center a few blocks away. I kept a little bag with soap and a towel in my backpack and timed it so no one would see me. One time, her husband, my uncle by marriage, walked in while I was quietly crying in the garage. He didn't yell. He just looked at me and said, "You should be grateful.